I don't know if they're going to have to address this or not in Cleveland, but Deshaun Watson, another performance where he didn't look great. Now is with Jameis as the backup there. Is there going to be any questions for his job, or does that contract kind of protect him this year?
Well, there's a lot of guaranteed money there. And I think Dan Orlovsky tweeted out at some point yesterday. I heard about this on Get Up this morning. They were talking about the fact that he mentioned the idea that Jameis was there. They're going to have to start thinking about that. Deshaun he's not recaptured the form that he's had. He's been through a lot of injuries here, and they paid him a lot of money. There's a lot of pressure. He's got to play better than that. I think they would agree with that. He would agree with that. Now, what do they do about that? You got a viable backup, a guy who started in this league and has played well in Jameis. I think if you make that move, boy, oh boy, like we're getting ahead of ourselves here. I just think it opens up a whole can of worms.
And also Zimmer with that defense, like out the gates. Now you have to perform better. Obviously, you're getting paid now the second highest contract in the history of the NFL, and we'll talk about that on the other side. D-Bud has a question for you about.
And also, I also say this: Deshaun didn't play at all in the preseason. They wanted to get him out there. He was never fully comfortable. There are a lot of players, teams that start slow. That's one of the byproducts of these teams not playing their players during the preseason at all. They try to rest them to make sure they're ready, but inevitably when that happens, there's a lot of rust. If you look at the numbers of touchdown throws, they've dropped every year the last few years. It keeps going down. Yeah. And so you can't have it both ways. You can't say, well, we're not going to expose our guys in the preseason and then expect that in week one, this guy's going to hit the ground running. That's not going to happen. Let's judge Deshaun Watson once he's feeling better, once he gets to a rhythm. If he's struggling, then these questions aren't going away. We know that.
Yeah, for sure, especially with the amount of money he's getting paid. And I said the other day on game day that, like, Clemson, I'm not that out on because I think Georgia's going to do that to a lot of people. And then Clemson people are like, well, we used to be that. That's So, it's like, okay, I get what you're saying. Makes sense. Like, yeah, Dallas Cowboys defense is probably going to make a lot of people's life hell, but, like, we also paid you $230 million to be, like, they should be worried about you. Yeah. And, like, our defense is also very good. So for them to lose, I think the way they did on that elf, Brownie. In Cleveland in front of the dog pound, obviously not a good start. This is Easton Rudisill at E. Rudisill. Hashtag, I don't want to overreact, but Browns are cooked, dude. Deshaun spelled wrong. Watson is a bottom five quarterback in the league. The Browns need to pull a Denver Broncos move and cut him and eat the salary cap hit. Winston should be the starter. Now, it's funny you add the W into that name because whenever you bring up Jameis Winston, you talk about eating dubs. Mm-hmm. With how much they're paying Deshaun Watson, even with the Russell Wilson situation as precedent in Denver, this is Deshaun Watson's team until he says it's not.
Very untradeable contract. But you do have Jameis there. I think it's too early. It is week one, and he didn't play great. Check down Charlie, check down Merchant, whatever you want to call him. But how many pressures yesterday, Tom?
25.
Yeah, had a couple backup tackles in there. 25 tackles. I don't know how you can operate an offense like that. Got to have some type of run game. But Deshaun, everybody's been saying, can he get back into the old form? That shit is over and done with. We need to see what Deshaun is going to be going forward. And at some point, you're going to have to make a QB decision, but not in week one.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson of old form is like top 10 player in the NFL, top 5 player in the NFL, which is why he got $230 million guaranteed. Mm-hmm. Even with everything that was taking place, it was like when he was on the field for the Houston Texans, it was lightning. Yes. It was phenomenal to watch. I saw a couple plays yesterday that reminded me of old Deshaun. He broke free, rolled to his right, threw a ball. It was a completion. And I saw a couple throws.
Couple foul ball
to the bench. Yeah.
I'm like, is that on purpose? Were those throwaway balls? Because it didn't look like those were throwaway balls.
No.
It looked like you were trying to, but it appeared to be throwaway balls. Dallas Cowboys defense is good, though. With Zimmer, too. We got to remember that. Yeah. Zimmer's Dallas Cowboys defense might be historic. We have no idea.
Yeah, they could be. I mean, how healthy is it? Do we know if he's 100%? Because throughout the whole preseason, remember there was days he would practice and he wouldn't practice, and then he wasn't playing in preseason. Like, how healthy is he? How good does his arm feel, honestly, in the rest of his body?
Schefter said he wasn't comfortable enough to play in the preseason or something like that, which made me believe that Schefter...
What does that mean?
Yeah,
what does that mean, though?
The way Schefter said it, it's like I think Schefter has some questions. Remember, he wasn't comfortable enough to play in the preseason? It's like Schefter said that in that way to kind of give
wasn't too long
we don't really know what was all kind of happening.
Preseason wasn't that far ago. That's true.
You don't want any lingering.
Yeah.
I mean, without those tackles, who is that comfortable when you're going up against Michael Parsons?
With Deshaun, it's like that's why they paid him all this money because they think he can be the guy where it's like we don't have to make a billion excuses for him on Monday when they play like shit and get their asses beat.
Whoa!
You pay. He's supposed to be one of those guys that it's like put everything on this guy's plate. He can handle it. That's why we gave you the biggest contract in the history of the NFL. And obviously, it's like with the injury stuff too. It's like at some point either the guy's got to get healthy or it's just like what are we doing here? You can't really just rest on that continually when they're paying a guy that kind of money.
And Browns fans are saying Joe Flacco just took this team to the playoffs.
Yeah.
We just watched Joe Flacco come in here and make the playoffs. And Spotrac released what the numbers would be if they were to cut Deshaun Watson. And we're not saying this should happen.
No, not going
We're not
to.
saying this. We're just telling you this is the information. Dead cap in 2024, 119, almost 120 million.
Okay.
2025 dead cap, 80.7 million. So remember, Russell Wilson is the $83 million in total. Next year would be 80.77 million in dead cap. For the cut Deshaun after 2024 crowd, 2025 dead 119 million. 2026 dead cap would be 54. For the cut Deshaun after 2025, which is next year's after next year's season, obviously. 2026 dead cap 73 million. 2027 dead cap 27 million. Mulligetta, man.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
Mulligetta's a real deal.
Yeah, legend.
Cowboys too. Like Jim Schwartz in the Browns defense is fucking very good. So like the Cowboys on offense also great. Like you would think there'd be a little bit of a delay with CD not really doing training camp. Like
he looked good.
Got to talk about the Cowboys offense being legit.
Did you think Zeke was involved? He was involved more than I thought. Like I love that Zeke was playing, getting the ball early. Like that was cool.
Last year, he looked like he had got his legs back.
Yeah,
Zeke can block too. Zeke can block. That's why people love him. I think his teammates love him. Zeke's not scared to stick his head in there and block dudes.
Yeah,
he was the Patriots' best player because Ramondre Stevenson went out, and like that's all the Patriots really had. Like when we beat the Steelers on the road, like it was all Ezekiel Elliott. So him being back there is sick, and like probably vibes for Dak in those guys, and even Big Mike getting Zeke back. Like you can't really put a number or anything on that, but that was probably pretty big for them.
Speaking of number 15, it's an interesting look, as he's running in the Cowboys jersey. Gets to resell all those jerseys again. That's not bad business there.